With 2026 midterms just months away, control of Congress could come down to just a handful of voters. And the GOP is betting on the SAVE Act that it will tip the scales. Yeah, well, we'll see. Today, we're going to break down exactly which voters could be affected by the act, how many, whether the law helps Republicans, or whether it's going to blow up in their face. And stay with me, because at the end, I'm going to show you two factors that could flip the GOP's entire strategy upside down. The SAVE Act isn't going to affect everybody. It mainly just hits people who are registering to vote for the first time, or they need to re-register. So young voters who are not 18 in 2024, people caught in the great sort who've moved to different states, married women who changed their names, people who are housebound or they're in assisted living centers, naturalized citizens, low-income voters without easy access to their documents. And that's not a small number. That's millions. All right, so let's get into those millions. Newly eligible voters, it's about 4.5 million, but you figure about 35% of them are going to vote, so that's about 1.6 million, right? Okay, so they lean about 60% Democrat. Recently moved voters, in the past 2 years, that's about 15 million, but maybe half of them turn out to vote, so 7.5. And they're split almost evenly between Republicans and Democrats. Name changes, 2.2 million. About a little over half of them are going to turn out, but there's going to be a slight Republican lean because more Republican women get married than Democrat. Now you get into housebound or assisted living facility voters, about 3 million. They have very high turnout and they're Republican leaning. Naturalized citizens, 3.5 million, strong Democrat lean. They tend to vote. And then you get to your lower income voters, about 4 million. They do lean more Democrat than Republican. So if you're going to add it all up, that's about 14 million eligible voters who want to vote, who might not be able to vote. And when you break it down between the two parties, so your Democrats are going to be about 7,640,000 voters who want to vote, who would not be able to vote. And then when you get to your Republican and Republican leaning, they're at about 6,344,000. Okay, so the first surprise is this is tighter than the GOP wants to admit on voter suppression, but it could still tilt the election in key races. However, messaging, preparation, and who actually understands the requirements could end up mattering more, and we're going to get into that twist a little later. But first, let's look at how the GOP hopes SAVE will save the balance of power for them in Congress. Let's look at the Senate first. Right now, there's 53 Republicans, 47 Democrats. Okay, that does include 2 independents who caucus with them. So there's only 35 seats that are up for grabs in 2026. The key battlegrounds look like Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Alaska, and Maine. But the race could hinge on just a few thousand votes in each of those races. Republicans don't necessarily need gains in the Senate. They need to hold it. And SAVE Act is supposed to help them do that. Either hold it at 53-47 or even improve them to 54-46. Now we're going to turn to the House. 218 wins control. Right now it's razor thin. Without SAVE, projections show that Democrats are going to be at about 230 seats and Republicans at 205. So that's not even close. They just lose the House. With SAVE, Republicans hope to lessen that loss a little, something like 220 to 215, right? Okay, so there's 12 to 15 true toss-up districts where just like 1,000 votes or so can flip control. So on paper, SAVE looks like it can stave off a total bloodbath in the House. But now we come to the twist. All right, folks, here's where it could backfire. These two factors could change everything. First of all, liberals are more likely to already have passports. But here's the crazy one, and here's the one that I think could actually affect it even more. Messaging. Republican leadership has framed SAVE as just a simple voter ID. Just show up and vote with your ID. Okay, but it's more complicated than that. So if GOP voters believe all they need is a driver's license to register to vote, and believe me, they do. If you try to tell them, no, you need a passport or a certified birth certificate with a state ID and a marriage certificate if you're married and change your name, they will call you a liar and say how that's fake news. So the GOP is going to need to quickly do a 180 and convince their own voters that everything they told them was a lie and the liberal liars were right. Here's the adjusted numbers. So the House, instead of tightening to 220 to 215, Democrats could still land about 228 seats, right? The Senate, instead of like the GOP hoping to expand to 54-46, Republicans could end up at 50-50. That's right. It could actually make it worse. So yes, Republicans are rolling the dice because without save, they just flat out lose the House outright, 230 to 205. But if the compliance math and messaging misfire play out, that law meant to save them could cost them control in the Senate. It would be split, and that's the gamble. But of course, anything can happen between now and November.